Hello all, I welcome all of you to this Udemy course Python Basics. This is Manjusha Bhosle from Kekiwak Polytechnic Nashik, and in this first lecture we will discuss the installation of Python IDE and we will run a simple program. Before that we need to follow some steps or procedure that first we will discuss. Now Python is already available on its official website, that is www.python.org, and Python IDLE, where IDLE stands for Integrated Development Environment for Python. The setup, installation and working with IDE is very simple because this Python distribution is available for wide variety of platform. So we need to open the browser and we need to go to the download option. There we have to find out that which release is compatible for our operating system. So if our operating system is Windows 7 or below, then we need Python 3.8 or below, and if it is Windows 8.1 and above, then we need Python 3.9 and above. So we have to download that file, setup file, and install it, and then we have to open it and we have to start with the Python programming. So we will just follow these steps and we will install the IDE for Python. So let us start with this. Now first here we will find out Python setup, and this will bring you to the Python official website. So here you have option download Python from python.org. Click on this website, and this is the website for Python setups, documentation, community and various stories. So from here you will get the current or latest release, but you have to first check your operating system and accordingly you have to download the setup. So my operating system is Windows 8, so I cannot use this setup, so I need to go to the downloads, Windows, and for Windows here Python 3.8.8 Windows installer for 64-bit is given. So there I need to click on and it will download the setup. Here you can observe that Python 3.8.8 AMD 64. So suppose on desktop I have Python folder, and in that I will just first I will just delete this. Download this, save. Now the setup is downloaded. We have to just open it and it will ask you to install this Python 3.8.8 64-bit setup. So select install now to install Python with default setting, or choose customize to enable or disable the feature. So I will say install, and it will ask for the permission for security reason, and it will start installation. So we have to wait until the setup will progress. Here you can observe that various libraries and testing tools and pip is being installed. So as Python has a wide library, wide classes, and it is a general purpose programming language as compared to another programming languages. It has a standard library with so many classes. It has a test suite, and while installing all these things are being installed. Now here you can observe the setup is successful, and you can have documentation or online tutorial to learn the Python. You have to just close it. To open this Python ideally, we have to go to the start program, and one option is here in program, that is Python 3.8. There are multiple options for opening this ideally. There is a module, there is a manual, shell is also there, but we have to use this ideally Python. So click on it. It will open the notepad like window, and it has all the menus like notepad. We have to start writing here the program. Now I just want to print a message hello, so I will just use print function. Print function, whenever you use in this Python, it will specify you the syntax. This is the syntax. Print in bracket, we have to specify the string in double quote, or you can directly specify the variable values. So suppose here I want to display the message hello or welcome, so I can directly write print function. And to run this, first I need to save this program. So if I say directly run module, it will ask me to save the file. So say OK and save the file. So suppose on desktop I have this Python folder, and I am sample underscore 1. Now here I am specifying the name sample underscore 1, but already the type of this file will be Python file, so I don't need to specify extension. And click on save. It will be saved as sample underscore 1.py, and automatically it will start to execute, and it will give you the result. This is what the message that you have written in the print function, and after executing this file it will show you the output. So this is called as IDE shell, because Python has two methods to write the program, or to write the Python program. First is interactive method, and second is scripting method. This shell allow you to make interaction with the Python. So suppose here I write 45 plus 69, and if I press enter, here I will directly get the result. But if I write here print, suppose welcome, it will print welcome message and not whole line like print welcome. So this is the difference between scripting and interactive shell. On interactive shell, whatever statement you write, you have to press enter and it will give you the output, and you just have to minimize it. If you want to make modification, now here you cannot directly print the addition, so for that, to get the result, you have to use again print statement. So if I use 15 plus 89, I need to first save this file and then run it. It will show you the output here. Again it will restart to run it, and then it will show the output. So this is how you can write the Python script on Python window or this Python IDE, and then you have to go to run option. One another way to run this Python script is from command prompt. So you can go to the command prompt, run cmd and press enter. Now wherever your file is saved, you have to go to that part. So cd desktop, cd python, and to run the program I have to use now Python command. So Python command is not inbuilt command, we have to do something for this command. So I have already have the setup for this Python command that I will show you afterwards. But to execute that sample underscore 1.py file, I have to use here Python command. So I will just use sample underscore 1.py and press enter. It will give you the output. So suppose if I write here print, that means I am just modifying the file, and we have to just see whether it is reflected in the output on the command prompt or not. So save it and again execute same command and press enter. It will show you the output. Now I will show you that how to use this command and how to make this a command, because sometime what happens that if you are specifying Python and some file name .py, it will show you this command is not found or this is not a command. So for that, what we have to do, go to the file explorer, and on that you have to go to the my computer properties. In advanced system setting, you have environment variables. There are two types of environment variable, that is user variable and system variable. Under system variable, there is a path variable, this one. Select this and say edit, and in this variable value you have to put this whole path, that is C colon suppose my PC name, users PC name, app data, local programs, Python 38. Now what is it that we have to see? So go to the file explorer, paste this path, and here you can observe that this is the whole library is stored on this path. This is the Python 38 folder, and in this folder there is one file, that is Python file, which is application file. So if you go to the properties of this file, you can observe that this is the application or .exe file, and whenever we execute any command, that command is nothing but the executable file, and whatever in front of that command we specify is the argument for that file. So of course for Python command we have to specify the file name .py, and to make this file a command we have to put this whole path in the environment variable. So Control C and go to the environment variable and paste this path here and say OK and say OK. So after doing this, it will make this Python command, and this Python command will act like a any command, and it will give you the, that means it will execute this file and it will give you the output. So this is how you can install the Python ideally from its official website, and you can run the command. You can make it interactive also, like any Linux command or command line OS. So this is all about Python 3.8.8. Now we will see which is the another editor that we can use for Python. So for that we have to find out Thonny editor. As I am going to use Thonny editor, we have to go to the website. Just go to the thonny.org and we can observe the information, detailed information about this Thonny editor as well as demo, and here is the download version. So you can go for Windows. Now save this setup, Thonny 3.3.5. After downloading this setup, you have to open it to install this editor. Now we will see how to install Thonny and how to use this Thonny. It will welcome you, and click on next, accept the agreement, click on next. Observe the path. See, this path is similar to the Python ideally, so at the same path it will be installed. Then say next, create a desktop icon and then say next. It will give you the location and say install. It will start installation. It will take some time because it has also a vast library and it has to install all the documentation files also, packages, files, classes. Now you can see here, great success, Thonny is now installed, and again in Thonny you have to create .py files and you have to run it. There also you have two options, that is you can write a Python script and run it, or you can have interactive session. We will see the demo now. So go to the start, programs, and this is the Thonny folder. Click on Thonny. It will open this editor, and here you can observe that there are four windows. First is to write the program, second is like interactive shell, then there is a variable window, and then object inspector. And by default already this file was open, so this is open now. But if you want to get new file, go to the new and write your first program in the Thonny. So double click and then say welcome, and it is very simple. Just click on this run. It will ask you to save the file. So here I am saying sample underscore 2. Already Python file type is there, so you don't need to specify the extension. Say save, and it will run the program and it will give you the output. On this shell I can directly write the command. So suppose 15 plus 69, I will get the output. Or if I write print OK and OK. So this is how you can use this interactively. This is the object inspector where you can see the values of various objects, and these are the variable. So if I write here a is equal to 5 and print a, run it, it will show you the value of 5, and here in variable window you can see a is equal to 5. So this is how you can use this Thonny editor. In this lecture I have shown you how to set up Python IDLE from python.org, as well as how to install Thonny editor. From next lecture I will use this Thonny editor to write the programs and to show the demo. I hope you all have understood this procedure and you will follow this to install the Python environment setup, and you will write your first program by your own. You can use another editors also, like Anaconda, Notepad++, PyCharm, etc, etc. So you can go for anything. Thank you all. Hello all, I welcome you all to this second lecture of this Udemy course, that is Python Basics. This is Manjusha Bhosle from KK Polytechnic Nashik. In this lecture we will study Python building blocks, which are nothing but the various elements or various things that we are going to use while writing the Python program. And of course we need to study the difference between another programming language and Python programming language. So for that purpose we need to first study this Python building blocks. So let us start with this. There are 5 building blocks for Python. Of course these are applicable for other programming languages also. First is identifier. Identifier means various programming elements such as variable, functions, arrays, structures, and so on. And for the title of all these things we need to have some rules and regulation, and an identifier suggests us that which kind of name we can specify to all these elements. So this is nothing but the main thing of the Python building block. Then comes is keywords. Keywords means the words which are already existing in the Python and that we cannot use for writing the names of all these identifiers or programming elements. Then comes is indentation, which is only applicable for Python, and it is very important in the Python programming language, because in Python we are not going to use curly braces and all that. Only indentation will show you the meaning of that statement. Then comes variables. Variables means the names which are given for memory locations, and for that also we have to follow some rules. And then how to write comments for Python programs. Now a Python identifier is a name used to identify a variable, function, class, module or other object. So for identifier we can use the letter capital A to Z or small a to Z, or we can use underscore at the start of the word. and it is followed by 0 or more letter. So we can use only underscore also, we can use 0 to 9 also, but we cannot start the identifier name with 0 to 9 alphabet. We compulsory have to use either alphabet or underscore. It does not allow punctuation characters such as at the rate, dollar and percentage and all that. It is case sensitive programming language, so whatever you write in capital letters will not be equal to same word in small letter. So you have to remember these two things. Next we have some naming conventions, like for class we always use uppercase letter for starting the name of class, and all other identifiers start with lowercase letter. Then we can use single underscore or double underscore at the start of the identifier, but there are two meaning. When we use single underscore, it indicate it is a private identifier, and when we use double underscore, it indicate it is a strongly private identifier. If the identifier also ends with two trailing underscore, it is a special name in the Python. So there are so many special names or set of special names which start with double underscore and end with double underscore. For example, init. We will see in later videos what is the use of this init, but this is all about identifiers in Python programming language. Now keywords means the reserve words that you cannot use for giving the names to the constant and variable or to any another identifier, and they all are in small letters. Here is the list of all the keywords. These keywords you cannot use as an identifier. Then is the indentation. As I told you, Python provides no braces to indicate blocks of code. There we have to use indentation. So indentation means it is alignment for the specific line. For example, in this example you can see, if true, on the next line the print start with some indentation on the second line, and again else again goes back. So it indicate that true block will have only one statement, but after print, if you write another print or another statement with the same indentation of print, it will again come under the if part. And in else part, if you write print without indentation, second print, then it will not be the part of else. So the number of spaces in the indentation is variable, but all statement within the block must be indented the same amount. The example is given here. So it is very important to give indentation in Python programming language. We have to remember this. Then comes variables. These are nothing but the reserve memory locations to store the values, and like C or C++, we have to also declare the variable in the Python programming language. You have to create a variable, but you cannot use the reserve word, and you can reserve the space in the memory. Based on the data type of variable, the interpreter allocate the memory and decide what can be stored in the reserve memory, and the name given to that reserve memory is nothing but the variable name. Therefore, by assigning different data types to variables, we can store integer, decimals, characters, or strings, or another data types are also there in the Python that we will see later. Then how to assign values to the variable. So here we use equal to sign. Python variable do not need explicit declaration to reserve the memory space. So the declaration happens automatically when you assign a value to a variable. So if I say a is equal to 50, I don't need to declare a first, because at the time of assignment only it will be considered as an integer. So the examples are given here. The operand to the left of the equal to is the name of the variable, and at the right is operand value. So example, counter is equal to 100, it means it is the integer. Miles is equal to 1000.0, that is floating point, and name is equal to, in double quote, it indicates it is a string. So in all these three cases I don't need to declare all these variables like counter, miles and names. When I assign the value, these are automatically declared. If I want to assign multiple value to the multiple variables, I can use this syntax. This one, a is equal to b is equal to c is equal to 1, or I can use a comma b comma c is equal to 1 comma 2 comma name. So this is how you can assign multiple values to the multiple variable or one value to the multiple variable. So automatically here a will store 1, b will store 2 and c will store John, and accordingly their data types will be considered by Python. Then comments are nothing but the some suggestions given to particular executable statement or some description of the particular executable statement that are for either user or development or developer or programmer. And in Python we can use two methods to give the comment. For single line comment we always use hash, and in front of that we write the comment, and for multiple line comment we have to use triple quote, or we can use double quote also. So a line containing only white spaces, possibly with a comment, is known as a blank line, and Python always ignore it. But if any statement is written on any line and for that you have to write some description, you can use single line or multiple line comment. So in an interactive interpreter session you must enter an empty physical line to terminate a multiple statement. That means whenever you are using the shell, at that time you have to press enter key twice to terminate the multiple statement execution. I hope you all have understood the concept of Python building blocks, that is identifier, variable, comments, indentation and all the things. Thank you all. Hello all, I welcome you all to this Udemy course, that is Python Basics. In third lecture we will see the demo of all the Python building blocks. We will use these Python building blocks on Thonny editor, as I already demonstrated the editor for Thonny, that is how to write program in Thonny editor and how to use various buttons to execute the program. So in this lecture we will just see what are different Python building blocks and how to use them. Now there are 5 Python building blocks: identifiers, keywords, indentation, variables and comment. Identifier is nothing but the name which we give to the function, class, module or other object, and we have already seen all these rules and regulations to write the names of identifier. We have already seen that we can use underscore and all the digits and all the alphabets to write the name of identifier. So let us use these identifier. So suppose if I want to suggest or if I want to write the name of any variable, then suppose here I write a is equal to 5, and if I print the value of a and if I run this, then I will get the value of 5. But if I do this using underscore and if I again run it, again it will give the output. So you can use the name of identifier like this by underscore first and then writing the alphabet. But if I use here any number, then you will get an error. This is what syntax error, invalid syntax. So the name of identifier should not contain the digit. Also Python doesn't allow the punctuation characters such as @ dollar and percentage. So if I write here @ or any another like percentage or dollar, then also it will give you the invalid syntax, so it is not allowed. Next thing is, if I write here, now as Python is a case sensitive language, if I write a is equal to 5 and capital A is equal to 6, and if I print a comma capital A and if I run this, it will show me 5 comma 6. So of course this capital A and small a are two different things. Here also in variable window you can observe this. Now the next part of identifier is writing the names of classes. So inbuilt class name start with uppercase letter, and leading underscore indicate that identifier is private, and trailing underscore also indicate that it is somewhat special identifier, so that we have already discussed. Now moving towards keywords. Keywords are nothing but the reserved words that you cannot use to write the name of variable or any constant or identifier name, and this is the table to show the keywords. But in Python we can directly get the set of all keywords by using a class and a function. So let us display all the keywords from Python. So in Thony, if you want to clear this shell, you can go to the edit and clear the shell. Now to display all the keywords, first I need to import the keyword module. So import keyword is used to import the keyword module, and to display the list of all keywords you can use keyword dot kw list, keyword dot kw list, and it will give you all the keywords. Now here in this square bracket means it is a list of all the keywords. Each keyword is indicated in a single quote, and these all keywords you cannot use in your Python script. So let us try for this. If I give any name, like suppose pass is the keyword, but if I write pass is equal to 89, and if I try to print it, then it will give me error, invalid syntax. Now this is all about keywords. Now talking about indentation, as I told you, Python provides no braces or curly braces like C or C++, and it has indentation only to show the blocks or to run the code within the block. There is only the indentation which will show you the particular block. Now we will just demonstrate this part, this if and else part. Now this is the latter part to study, but to study the indentation part we need to use this example. Now let us just rough this, and I will just write that if statement. So if true, now see, when I press enter here, automatically my cursor comes below the R and not the I. It already supporting the indentation. So from here only I have to write some true statement. So suppose this is true. Now suppose if I want to write else part, I need to press backspace, and then I will use else keyword double colon, and when I press enter, now see, if I don't write this colon and if I press enter, my cursor goes below E, that is start of the line. But if I give colon, it founds that it is the else statement and the block of else is starting. So here I will write print or else part, and to end this we have to press enter. And suppose here we write, now it is not compulsory to end if statement, but for this demonstration only I am writing another print statement, like suppose by. Now I will just first clear the shell and I will just run this. Now here you can see it is true and by. So this true part is executed and at last by part is executed. So this is how we use the indentation in Python. Now this is not only applicable for if statement, but for loops, classes, then decision making statement, nested if else, all these things are having this indentation part. So at that time we will see this part again. Now variables. As I told you, variables are nothing but the names given to the memory locations, and there we can store the data in any type. So in Python it is not compulsory to declare the variable, but whenever we assign some value to the variable, automatically its data type will be assumed. Now we will see the example for it. This counter, miles and names, how these variables are used, that we have to see. Now I will just remove this, and here I will use, suppose counter is equal to 100, then miles is equal to 12.45, and name is equal to, suppose in double quote, Manjusha. And now I will just print the type of each variable. So type of counter, so Python has this type function to display the type of any variable. So if I run this, here I will get the type of counter. As counter store the value 100 and 100 is of type integer, it will show you this. Now similarly, if I write here miles and name, and if I run this, it will show me int, float and str. So counter is of type 100, int, miles is of type float and name is of type string. So this is how you can assign the values to the variable, and type function is used to display the type of that variable. Now how to assign multiple values to multiple variable, or one value to the multiple variable, that we will see in this example. Here a is equal to b is equal to c is equal to 1 indicate that 1 is assigned to ABC, and for ABC we are assigning 3 values here. So we will just try this in Thorny. So suppose here I write a is equal to b is equal to c is equal to, suppose 45, and if I try to print this value of a comma b comma c, run it, and it will show you 45 45 45. Now suppose if I write here a comma b comma c is equal to 1 comma 5.2 comma in double quote, suppose Nashik, and if I try to print this ABC, run it, and it will show you 1.1 5.2 Nashik. So as this is overwritten, ABC, the previous value was 45, but now this ABC is overwritten by 1 5.2 and Nashik, and in print statement it is printing the values. So this is how you can assign multiple values to multiple variable, or one value to multiple variable. Now last building block of the Python, that is comments. So as we have discussed in previous lecture, hash is used to give the single line comment, and double quote or triple quote can be used to give multi-line comment. So this I will demonstrate you now. Now suppose in this example, if I want to give comment here, so suppose I give the comment to the line, so here you can see the color is changed, and if I run this, now it is showing me value 45 45 45. And suppose if I give you comment here, and if I remove this comment, then it will show me the value 1 5.2 and Nashik. And suppose I want to give this multi-line comment, then I will just use this triple quote, and if I run this, it will show me only the print statement, and it will just neglect this multiple lines because I have given the multi-line comment. Double quote will not applicable here, so you have to use triple quote only. Color is changed. So you run this and you will get only print statement. So this is all about all the building blocks of Python. I hope you all have understood this identifiers, keywords, indentation, variable and comments part. Now in next lecture we will study all the data types in Python. Thank you all. Hello all, I welcome to you in this 5th lecture of Python Basics Udemy course. This is Python data types part 2. In first part we have discussed some of the data type. In this video or lecture we will be discussing remaining data types. So let us start with this. We have already discussed the tree of data types in the Python. That is, Python has 5 data types: numeric, boolean, dictionary, set and sequence. Under numeric we have discussed integer, float and complex. Then in boolean we have discussed true and false values, and dictionary is nothing but a key value pair. So in sequence type we have to study string, list and tuple, and then there is a set. So let us start with the sequence type, that is string. Then we will be discussing list, tuple and then set. So what is string and what is the difference between integer and string? The string can be defined as a sequence of characters represented in quotation marks. So we can use either single quote or double quote or triple quote. So string handling is very simple in the Python because it supports various inbuilt functions that we can directly apply on the string object, and we can get the result. So one by one we will be discussing this. So in this example we can see string 1 consists of hello Python and string 2 consists of how are you. These two are strings, they are nothing but the sequence of alphabets. So if I want to print it, I can directly use print str1, and if I want to retrieve some of the character, we can use slice operator. Then if I want to retrieve particular alphabet, then we have to specify the index of that character. Then if I want to print string twice, then I can use multiplication operator, and concatenation is also possible in Python. We can use plus operator to concat 2 or more strings. So we will just take a demo for this. Now here we will first declare the string str1 in single quote, suppose hello all, and suppose I want to print this, then I can use print str1. This will print hello all. If I want to print a particular character, then print str1 of suppose 3, then it will print L. This is 0 1 2 3. That means the index start from 0. That's why even if I use 2, it will also print L, because there is a double L at second and third position, there is a L. If I want to retrieve the sequence of alphabets, and if I say 2 colon 6, then it will print double L O. So 2 3, that means it will start from third position. So if I use here, so here you can observe that 1 means it is started from 0 and first, that means from E. So 0 1 2 3 4, that is this last bound will be n minus 1, and the position is 5th, so the 5th character is retrieved here. 0 1 2 3 4 and space is there. So if I say 1 colon 8, then it will display from E to L. That means this is first position, as H belong to 0th position. E is the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, that is 8 minus 1. So this is how you can retrieve the specific sequence of characters or alphabets. This is called as slice operator. This colon in square bracket, when we use upper bound and lower bound in square bracket, it is called as a slice operator. Now once again let me clear the shell, and we will see how to use multiplication and plus operator. So here I am declaring. Now see, if I say str1 is also hello all, and str2 we are declaring is equal to suppose welcome. So if I say str1 plus str2, then it will just concatenate it like this. And if I say str1 into 2, then it will display twice hello all. So this is how you can use plus operator and multiplication operator. So the next part is, so we have discussed all these things. Next part is this plus and multiplication, that how already we have seen. So plus operation will be used for concatenation, and multiple multiplication operator is used to repeat the string. So if you specify here 3, it will be repeated for 3 times. Now next is list, and list are similar to arrays in C, but in array we have to store same types of element, but in list we can store different types of elements. This is the big difference. The list has square bracket, and the elements in the list are separated by comma. On list also we can use slice operator, which we have already used on strings. So the index of list element, it also starts from 0 because it is like array. And we can use concatenation operator and repetition operator in the list similar to the string. Now here you can observe the example. A is equal to, in square bracket, 1 is of type integer, 2.2 is of type float, and this is Python string. So it is one of the most used data type in the Python, and it is very flexible because you can have different types of element. You can use slice operator, and so many built-in functions are there that you can directly use on the list. So we will just discuss the examples like this. This is the way how you can define the list. You can retrieve the particular element by specifying the index. You can retrieve the sequence of elements by specifying slice operator. And what is the result of this, that we will be discussing now. Now see here, if I specify a 5 colon, so now we will just take the example of this. Now here we will discuss the example. Now suppose the list A is defined here with some elements like 5, 10, 15, etc. If I want to print the element at position 2, then 0, 1, 2, 15 is the answer, and here is the answer. A of 2 is equal to A of 2, that is equal to 15. If I want to retrieve the elements from 0th position to 3rd, that is 3 minus 2, second position. So 0, 1, 2, 5, 10, 15 is the output. And if I specify 5 colon, then it will start from 5th location. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that is 30 will be printed first, and colon and upper bound is not defined here, so remaining all elements will be printed here. So 30, 35, 40 are printed here. Let us demonstrate this. Now here I am declaring the list, that is suppose L1 is equal to, in square bracket, suppose 1 comma 4.5 comma JJJ comma suppose 23 comma 5.7 comma HHH. So if I want to print L1, then I will just use print L1. It will print whole list. If I want to print some particular element, then in square bracket I have to specify the index. So suppose I specify 3, then it will print the element at 3rd position, 0, 1, 2, 3. And if I specify 3 colon 6, then it will print 23rd, 5.7 and HHH. And if I specify here 2 colon, and if I do not specify this operand, then it will start from 2nd position, that is 0, 1, 2, JJJ. From JJJ it will print all the elements. So this is how you can use the list, but all these things are very basic. Some another built-in functions are also applicable for list. Some methods are there that we can use with the list, and that we will be discussing later. Now the next data type is tuple. Tuple is another sequence data type that is similar to the list, but there is a big change. in the tuple, that is, you can modify the content of list, whereas you cannot modify the content of tuple. So this concept is like mutable and unmutable. A tuple consists of a number of values separated by comma, and they are enclosed in, the elements in the tuple are enclosed within parenthesis, that is rounded bracket. The main difference is the lists are enclosed in square bracket while tuples are enclosed in parenthesis, and tuples can be thought of a read only list. So in summary, lists are mutable and tuples are unmutable. Now we will just discuss the example of tuple. So here is the method to declare the tuple, that is, the name of tuple is equal to, in parenthesis you can have number of elements, and any type of elements you can have separated by commas. Then if you want to print whole tuple, you can directly use print in bracket the name of tuple. Similarly, like list, you can use index to retrieve the specific element, or you can use slice operator to retrieve the specific range of element, or you can use this 2 colon, that means you can have the starting element and afterwards all elements you can print using this 2 colon, or some elements you can retrieve by using a specific index of that element. You can also use this star and plus operator for concatenation and for repetition. So we will be just discussing this. Now I am just using all these same element in the tuple. So this I will just replace with the parenthesis, and L1 is the name of my tuple now. Now if I use print L1, then it will print whole tuple. If I say L1 of 4, then it will print the fourth element. If I say 4 colon 6, then it will print 2 elements. Let me clear the shell. So if I say print L1 plus L1, then it will concatenate the same tuple twice. And if I say print L1 into 2, that is twice I want to print it, so it will print twice. Similar way we can use like string on the tuple as well as on the list. Now next data type is set. Sets are used to store the multiple items in a single variable. So it is a collection which is both unordered and unindexed. So the difference between list, tuple and set is, for both list and tuple there is indexing and they are in a particular order, but in set elements are not having any index. We can create the set by placing the all elements in the curly braces separated by comma. So now there is a question that what is the difference between dictionary and set, because in both cases we use curly braces. So in dictionary we have key value pair, whereas in set we don't have key value pairs. And sets have any number of items and they may be of different types like integer, float and tuple or string. But a set cannot have mutable elements like list, because list has a mutable elements, that means you can modify list, but in sets you cannot modify the elements. So sets are unmutable. Now how to define set? So you can specify the set name is equal to, in curly braces you can specify the elements, and you can use print function to display the set. And if I want to retrieve particular element, then it is not possible for the set, but set have various inbuilt functions and methods that we can use to retrieve the specific element or range of elements. So that we will be discussing in later videos. Now we will just demonstrate this part. Now suppose my set is equal to, in curly brace, 1 comma 2 comma 3, and if I say print type of my set, then it will give me class set. If I want to print this set, then I can use print function. It will print 1 2 3, and afterwards we are going to use some methods and functions to add the elements in the set and to retrieve particular element. Because set doesn't allow indexing, we cannot use square bracket here. So if I try to use here indexing, then it will give me error like set object is not subscriptable. Now we can use type function to check the type of set, or we can initialize set with set function, and this is all about all the data types of Python. I hope you all will use all these data types and try by your own to use all these data types. Thank you all.